I think the most iconic moment of the inauguration, which kind of like ruined it. It gave like opponents of Trump exactly what they wanted, was the quote unquote Roman salute by Elon Musk. So I want to get your take.
And I just want to say thank you for making it happen. Thank you. And I just want to say thank you for making it
I'm gonna watch it 3 more times. He goes, He goes,
And I just want to say thank you for making it happen. Thank you.
It never stops being funny to me. It's just so forced and awkward, and the grunting, and he really wanted to make that salute. He really wanted it. It's almost like he's possessed, where he can't. His like body has been occupied. He just can't help but just get it out there, no matter what. Maybe some part of his brain is telling him that maybe it's not a good idea to give the sieg heil. But I mean, look, that's what it looked like to me. It did look like a Nazi salute to me. But the thing is, we're not in his mind. And the way I see it on this thing, everyone's a hypocrite. Republicans are hypocrites because they call everyone an anti-Semite, while having someone like Elon Musk who looks like what it makes what looks like appears to be a Nazi salute. Elon Musk is a hypocrite because, of course, he's used the whole scaremongering about smearing critics of Israel as anti-Semitic to launder his own history with anti-Semitism and criticizing groups like the ADL. He basically caved to their shakedown of him, went to Auschwitz with Ben Shapiro. And of course, Democrats are hypocrites too, because people like AOC are saying like this is a red line, white supremacy, Nazism. But I'm sorry, you all fund neo-Nazis in Ukraine and didn't care when Joe Biden ignored U.S. law and decided to start arming the neo-Nazi Azov battalion. So whatever Elon Musk really intended or just subconsciously did, everyone to me here is a hypocrite.
The official salute of the Azov battalion, which is now the 3rd Regiment of the Ukrainian military, which officially receives arms from the U.S. military, is the Roman salute, which became the salute of the Phalange fascist movement. And they just assemble like that. They still do it in the field.
Yeah.
Andrei Beletsky, their founder, received a Medal of Honor, or like the highest order of military award from Zelensky. So yeah, there is a lot of hypocrisy to go around. I was remembering, remember Richard Spencer? I'd like totally forgot about this guy.
Sure.
This was like after Trump's first inauguration.
Hail Trump! Hail our people! Hail victory!
I wonder what happened to those guys. Like how many of them joined some other weird party with like 3 initials. But yeah, he and Richard Spencer just kind of went away. Remember, he was like on the cover of Mother Jones and getting like interviewed on CNN, and now he's like some random pro NATO commentator on the corners of Twitter X. But the excuses for Elon, like I can't say personally what I think Elon was in Elon Musk's mind. It looked like a sieg heil to me. It's like something I would avoid, because like I've given talks before, and like when an ultra Zionist publication like Algemeiner wants to attack me, they'll like show me like putting my hand out like that, or like calling on someone in the audience like I'm sieg heiling. So I'm like, I'm kind of like careful about that, but he was just like letting his freak flag fly. And then the Zionists just came in one after another to defend him vociferously. And the point I want to make is, I mean, here's BAA Angar Saron, as a person with a strong track record of criticizing Elon Musk, I feel extremely confident asserting that this was not a Nazi salute. Elon Musk is a friend to the Jews. This is a man with Asperger's exuberantly throwing his heart to the crowd. Exuberantly throwing his heart to the crowd. We don't need to invent outrage. So basically, when you have Asperger's or autism and you throw your heart out there, this is just what comes out. And so we're going to blame this on, and you're ableist if you say otherwise. But, you know, I'm not even going to debate it. The issue is, if this was Jeremy Corbyn, he would not be allowed to throw his heart to the crowd. If Jeremy Corbyn had thrown his heart to the crowd in the same way that Elon Musk had, BAA Angar Saron and Benjamin Netanyahu, who subsequently defended Elon Musk, would have called on the Mossad to get a snatch and grab team together and put a bag over Jeremy Corbyn's head and throw him in a car and take him to Jerusalem, where they would put him in a glass box and place him on trial before the quote unquote Jewish people for Nazism. I mean,
Absolutely.
these people, all they do day after day is invent outrage about anti-Semitism and invent anti-Semitism, like make up straight up hoaxes, like one of the biggest hoaxes of last year, the Amsterdam pogrom, completely fake, started by Israeli hooligans. BAA Angar Saron targeted me for going to the inaugural peace ball. She claimed it was going to be like an anti-Semitic Hamas fest with members of Congress attending. I don't know why they never ran that piece in Newsweek, by the way, but that's the point I want to make about this. And you know, I think there's another point to be made, and it relates to Ukraine too. It relates to Nazis in Ukraine as well. And, you know, I'll bring in this appearance Elon Musk did to boost the AfD, the Alternative for Deutschland in Germany. He did an event with their leader, who is doing much better than Friedrich Merz of the CDU, and really seems to be, you know, the AfD really seems to be surging in Germany. This is the kind of populist right-wing party that does have roots in post-World War II fascism from like the Saxony region and the early, you know, the base of the Nazi party. Some of the retreads launched this nationalist party, and now it's extremely popular, partly because Germany's committed economic suicide over Ukraine through its centrist center-left government, partly because of their handling of the whole COVID event. For so many reasons, AfD's rising, and Elon seems to be propelling them. And at an AfD rally in Germany, he declared, "I think there's too much focused on past guilt in Germany, and we need to move beyond that. Children should not feel guilty for the sins of their parents, their great-grandparents even." So naturally, this stoked a lot of outrage, that he's basically saying, you shouldn't be guilty about the Holocaust anymore. You shouldn't be guilty about the genocide, which, by the way, didn't just target Jews. Millions and millions of Russians were killed as Russians. Roma people were killed as Roma people. Dissidents, gay people, all sorts of people who just didn't fit in to the Reich were slaughtered. And that's really what Nazism is today. It's not just an anti-Jewish ideology or an anti-Semitic ideology. And in many ways, people who are Jewish who support Zionism are advancing it. I mean, what is the most powerful ethno-supremacist state in the world? It's Israel, and it is a state that the AfD supports. They are one of the most pro-Israel parties in the world, and their counterpart in Austria, the Freedom Party, actually has placed Israeli flags over the city halls of cities that where they control the municipality. They love Israel. So basically what Elon Musk is saying is, you know, we're going to continue to support German power, but it won't be done on the liberal transatlantic basis, which was that Germany will exonerate itself and atone for the sins of the Holocaust by giving millions and millions of dollars in weapons a year to Israel in order to finance a new Holocaust in the Gaza Strip. It won't do that on the basis of Holocaust guilt. It'll do it on the basis of national strength and resentment of Muslims and Arabs, which is part of the AfD philosophy. So it's really, there isn't really going to be any material change in at least the way Germany projects itself to the outside world. It's just going to drop the liberal veneer and continue to support more holocausts, colonial holocausts in the Middle East and elsewhere, as it supplements U.S. power as the second leading arms exporter to Israel. I mean, all the other European states combined, I don't even think they give as much as Germany does to Israel. So there's a certain irony in all this. And Elon Musk just doesn't seem to be like to have that much intellectual depth. You've ever watched an interview with him? Like if you actually watched him speak with Ben Shapiro at Auschwitz, his opinions all appear to be completely superficial and designed to cater to the sensibilities of whoever he thinks he needs to win over as supposedly the world's richest man, who clearly isn't in charge of his fortune. Apparently, I'm a Zionist and a Nazi. Ha ha ha, Elon Musk says, like as if these two are just absolutely mutually exclusive and that the humor is inherent in his comment.
And that's the point. Zionists don't care if you are a Nazi. In fact, this dates back to early Zionism when there was cooperation between Nazis and Zionists. And today, I mean, Zionists are happy to accept the support of anti-Semites if these anti-Semites are supportive of Israel's Nazi-like behavior in Gaza. So there's no contradiction at all. And again, on the issue of Ukraine, nobody launders white supremacy today more than liberals, who have just completely forgotten that there are major groups inside Ukraine that are neo-Nazi, started off neo-Nazi and have neo-Nazi views. And just compare two headlines in The Guardian, a liberal newspaper. So the first one on top is from 2018, and it says neo-Nazi groups recruit Britons to fight in Ukraine, and they're referring to the Azov battalion. And then fast forward to this month, 2025, 7 years later, and now all of a sudden, a similar story is titled Ukraine's highest profile combat unit to recruit English-speaking soldiers. So 2 stories 7 years apart on the exact same topic, the Azov battalion recruiting foreigners to fight. And all of a sudden, the Azov battalion goes from being a neo-Nazi group to being Ukraine's highest profile combat unit. So if we care about white supremacy, whitewashing Nazis, start with the laundering of neo-Nazi groups in Ukraine, which has been done because those groups are on our side in the proxy war. And, everybody in liberal media and everybody in the progressive Congress has taken part of this, because none of them have raised any concerns about the fact that our weapons and support are going to groups like the Azov battalion.
They were imaginary Nazis for a while. Like we were told they didn't even exist. Now we're told we need them because they're the best fighters. And I responded to Elon Musk by reminding him of the history of the Havara Agreement by presenting this coin. I actually have touched this coin. Several copies were made, and one of them was handed to me. I got to meet Lenny Brenner, who is one of the most interesting historians of this period, and sort of a blue-collar historian, self-trained, wrote a book called Zionism in the Age of Dictators, and also 51 documents of Nazi-Zionist collaboration. One of them is online, and it's, for free, worth reading the whole thing. But this was, and I believe he won a coin in an auction. He paid like $800 for it in a public auction. One of these coins was printed by Joseph Goebbels for his deputy, Leopold von Mildenstein, who was the head of the Jewish office in the early stages of the Nazi Reich. And he was invited by a Zionist colonist to tour the kibbutzim in Mandate Palestine And he loved it so much that he was heard listening to Hebrew folk music in his office. And Joseph Goebbels recognized his enthusiasm for this project of taking Jews and sending them over there, making them the problem of the indigenous Palestinians so the Germans can resolve their Jewish problem, and getting some of their property left behind, their art collections, their homes, their furniture. And the Zionist movement gets their bodies, which they need in their demographic trench war against the Palestinians. And so he was awarded this medal, which shows a swastika on one side and a Star of David on the other. Angriff, which you see on the left, was the propaganda publication of the Nazi SS, which is the most ideologically supremacist, militaristic core of the Nazi movement. And so, of course, you can be a Zionist and a Nazi. The two are absolutely compatible. And, if we have time, we'll talk about episodes of manufactured anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitism is the fuel for Israel's existence. It's what justifies it as a supposed Jewish sanctuary, which is why in so many cases, the Israel lobby, the Zionist movement, and Israel itself actually invent anti-Semitism. So I don't know. Everyone's looking at the Elon Musk sieg heil, I think, in a very superficial and shallow way. And I think it says something deeper about where the movement that he represents is going. And his adoption of Zionism is part of it.